Good afternoon. It's Thursday today and welcome to Summer's Way of Life. I'm going to try and make this a short video. Oops, that sounded like a bird falling out of the tree there. But yeah, I'm in the garden, and what I'm going to do today is talk to you about the importance of discipline. But before I do that, just a couple of things I've been doing in the garden which I can just share with you now. First of all, today is a root day and it's still an ascending moon. And I'm not sowing any seeds today, really. I'm going to do that tomorrow. But when you have a little bit of time and you're not so busy in the garden, certain things, there are many things you can prepare. And what I've done, I've got these containers here that I'm going to use. They're plastic to grow flowers in. But what I've done is I've put these plastic containers inside them. In fact, they would have gone down too deep, so I'm balancing them precariously on top of this. And the idea is preparation, so I can then tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, when it's a flower day, I've got the compost soil ready and I can just sow the flower seeds in or transplant immediately. And this just saves time. It's all the preparation that you do in advance. It's the same here with these pots. I've put another pot inside there, and I just get lots of things prepared in advance, which saves me time later. And then this all comes under discipline. The other thing I've done yesterday is I've transplanted the tomato plants, and I've created this little structure here, really simple, with bamboo sticks and weaving them in and out so that they have some strength. And I've got 5 tomato plants. Now last year I had, I don't know if you can see me, last year I'd put the year before last 7 or 8, and it just wasn't enough space for them to breathe because they do grow quite tall. As a result, I have got loads spare. So I am going to put some in pots outside at the front of the house, because the front of the house faces south. I'm in the back of the garden, and when I look towards the house it's facing south. That's why I've got all my plants here facing south. There's no high buildings here, maximum 2-story houses, so the sun is really high up in the sky, so it's perfect for planting everything further back. So I'll be planting tomatoes out in the front because they're spare, and I'll just see how they do. I've got too many. I'm just going to give some away as well to neighbours, family, and anybody that wants some. That's the way to do it. You know, you go knock on the door and say, I've got some spare tomato plants, do you want them? And that's how you make friends as well and build community. It's really very, very important. So now, the thing I wanted to talk to you about is discipline. Look, we live in a society today where you don't really need to be disciplined, and this idea has just come to me as a reminder after I have been listening to an orientation from the Truth, Freedom, Health orientation every Thursday. I'll put the details down below if you're interested, and I can talk more about that in a specific video another time. But 2 years ago, or until recently, 2020, I was running a group, and in that group I was talking about the way of life that I lead, and I have always been a very, very disciplined person. Now, what does that mean? That means, I mean, there are certain times when I was ill where I had let go of that discipline because it was overly controlled, overly disciplined. But I wouldn't worry about that because I don't think anyone suffers from that disease anymore. We are in a stage now in our society where people are lazy, they're fat, they're dumb, and they're stupid. And they're working from home, they don't need to get up early, they don't bother getting dressed, and there's no pride in anything they do. But the most important thing is, our time is so finite and you have to look after it. And so if you're somebody that is a little bit of a scatterbrain and can't organise your time properly, write things down And I always do this the night before. And if I don't, I do become a scatterbrain the next day. I don't focus on what I'm doing. So write it down the night before. Write down the things that are important to do. If there's a bill to pay or you have to do some accounts, which I do every month. I'll talk about money management another time. I've done a video on that and it hasn't had a huge amount of views, but it's such an important video, and I'm going to repeat and do another one on that another time, because money management is one thing that I'm very, very, very good at, and I've had to be as a mother raising her 2 children pretty much on her own and running a financial business. So I used to account for every single penny. Had I not done that, I would not be in the position I'm in today, where I'm able to do these videos for you and look after my garden, because I don't have to go out and slave every day. Looking after your money and you've got to understand what money is. Money is energy. It's energy. Don't think of it as just a pound note. It's just energy. I give you this, you give me that. So it's almost like an exchange. And because now today I can go through the history we've evolved, whereby now we've got paper notes that are backed by nothing, but I don't want to digress. We think all the time as we've got to make more of this paper. It's not. Think of it as energy. As soon as you start changing your way of thinking, you will realize how important it is to look after and manage that energy and not give it away so easily. There has to be an equitable exchange in any partnership or in any communication of energy. So write down, that's a money talk, but write down every day, the night before, what it is you're going to do the next day. This is especially geared towards those people who are all over the place. Get up. First thing is get out of the house. There are certain things that you can do which will help you think with clarity. So the first thing is get up early, sleep early, get out of the house, go for a long walk. Even if it's for 10 minutes, just do it. Sit down quietly and just breathe, breathing exercises. And then go through your list. Now, I sometimes have a day where I'll just do all my accounts on that day, but because I'm so organized, I try and mix my day so I'm doing different things, recognizing where my brain is more acutely aware. So for example, I know I'm strongest at about 5 o'clock. When I go to my spin class at 6 in the evening, for some reason my circadian biology is such that it does really well with weights, and I'm strong and I've got that strength. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've eaten at 3 o'clock. That's me. I also know I'm more alert in the morning, but I also like to be in the garden. So I split the day. I'll say, okay, from 7 to 8, just giving you an example that's not necessarily my day, I'm going to walk, and I'm going to walk to the village, and I'm going to buy something from the greengrocer's shop, because that way you're getting your walk in, walk back. I'm going to sit down quietly. I'm going to do some stretches, just sit down on the floor and do some stretches. Really good for women. And then what I'll do is go in the garden and sow some seeds, because the night before I have written down what seeds I'm going to sow. It's all organised. And then after that, when I need a rest from being in the garden, I'll come in, I'll have my laptop ready, and I'll sit down, and I've written down the day before. These are all the things I have to do, which I tend to do on a Sunday. And then from that list, I write down I have to pay this bill, check this account, look at this credit card, book this ticket, or whatever. You do it then, and just do what you can out of those. Tick them off. Psychologically, it makes you feel like you've done something, and then move on to the next thing. So you can, if you're working from home and you have to sit in front of a computer, then you do that at whatever time it is. And outside of those times, you do something different, whether it's movement, cooking, exercise. Just vary it. That's the benefit of not having to go into an office every day if you're that way inclined. If you have to go. For those that have to go into an office, then you have to work around the rest of the day. And when you're in the office, hopefully in your break time, you're not going through this screen and and scrolling through nonsense. Get things done, whether it's movement outside or whether it's paying a bill. Write down that morning, the night before, what you're going to do in your spare moments at work. Writing down is a very, very powerful skill to have. Don't lose that. The system and the establishment are taking that away from us, and our children don't even know how to write anymore, let alone they don't even know how to read, forget about write. But you can't not write. You must write. Something happens in the brain when you put pen to paper, from the brain to the arms to paper. Something happens that creates motion, and when it creates motion, it incites action, and action to do something, and it puts you in control. That's the important thing, and that's how I've always operated. And it doesn't mean that I don't slip. There are days that I do slip, but because I've created a habit by doing certain things, eating the right foods, moving my body, making sure I've got the right environment around me, because I do all of those things, there are 7 life tools that I used to talk about in a group that I ran, and I'm going to bring them back into these videos very soon. A lot of things are going to come back in these videos to educate you. And if you're constantly doing these things, your brain is on fire, and it's able to function on all cylinders. All the batteries are running perfectly, and you're more likely to get things done. But it starts somewhere, and that somewhere is where you first get up in the morning, and the night before write down and do certain things. You do not know how good you'll feel by the end of the day. And sometimes, you know, if you haven't gone through certain things, like right now, I have some learning to do and some education, and I'm not very good at 6 or 7 o'clock studying. Things just don't go into my head. So I don't criticize myself and say, oh my God, I said I was going to do it, I've got to do it. You start talking to yourself and blaming. All right, I'm not going to do it, that's it. So I don't do it. But I'm going to write down, these are things I need to do tomorrow, and that becomes a priority, and I'll work on those 3 or 4 things tomorrow, for sure. Always gauge and start trusting yourself. Do not look for an external source for answers. Trust yourself. It's very, very important. So that's my little message for today. Tomorrow is another root day, and I probably will be sowing some root seeds tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning, after a walk and perhaps a really good stretch. And then there's a lot of house cleaning to do, which I always tend to do on Friday, so I'll probably get that done too. And a lot of learning, so I'll put 2 or 3 hours aside, an hour each time in between cleaning the house. You see how things work? That's how you want to think, and that's how you get things done. And you always think ahead. 3 or 4 days, I'm going to do that, what can I do now? But there's never any stress. You just do. You just slowly do things. So as long as you keep moving and keep the action going, these things have a habit of getting done if your brain works in a certain way and flows in a certain way. Do you follow? But make sure first you look after your own body and your own health. Do not forget, just some housekeeping things just to remind you all about, is do not forget to read the notes below. They're really important, and the links. And remember that this channel is like a story, so I keep talking to you that you can't pick up a story halfway through. There are so many little nuggets of knowledge and insight and intelligence and education in all my videos. If I'm doing a gardening video, I might mention something else, because I digress all the time. That's how my brain works. So when I'm doing a gardening video, listen carefully, because that reminds me of something else which I then talk about. And these little things go together to help you understand how I think. And if you're asking, well, I don't really want to know how you think, I just want to look at one of your videos, that's fine. But that's not what my channel is about, because The reason I'm sharing with you how I think is that I live a very productive and fruitful life. And what I mean by that is that I'm very content, I'm very happy, my health is good, and it's come from a background where it wasn't like that, and I was very ill, very unhappy, making all the wrong choices in my life. And having healed myself from a terrible disease called Crohn's, which I'll share with you down the line, without any medication, I'm in a position today where my brain is on fire and I'm at peace, but I take action every day. And I'd like you all to feel like that, because it's from this place that you'll be able to move forward. Do you see? And you'll take control, and you won't let the system control you. Everyone needs to feel this way and live this way. It's very important. So listen to all the videos from the beginning, even if you have to put them on 1.5 or 1.25 times, because I do speak quite slowly. It's very powerful, and all of them matter. All the videos matter. And you'll become someone who is a jack of all trades. You know, you'll be able to enjoy cooking, you'll spend time with your family, you'll go out, you'll move, you'll be able to make decisions with ease, you won't have stress. I will never let stress take over my life again. It's a killer. It is not worth it in the end. And it's really up to you on how you handle your stress, and it will eventually manifest in your symptoms through some kind of dis-ease. There are a lot of people out there that show that they're very healthy and they're very well and they're very successful, but underneath their body is saying something else, and it always comes out in the end. Don't be that. Be living in the now, and it's from this now place. When you take action and do things, people feel it. That's the vibration and the frequency that they feel, and it's extraordinarily powerful. I keep talking about this. That's the true essence of the human being you are. From this place you can go out and I'm taking part in a movement now, the Truth, Freedom, Health movement run by Dr. Shiva. To take part in that, he talks about fighting the system. Yes, you can, but it's how you define the word fighting and how you do it using your own innate skills to get people moving and think differently. Everyone's on their journey, but you've got to learn to think for yourself. Outside of the system box. Get outside of that system, that system, step outside it and take control of yourself. Take control of your mind, take control of your decisions, take control of the words that you use. Don't worry about, as long as they're coming from a good place and with compassion, don't worry about what others think, because most people are still living in that matrix, in that system, on that plantation. You're not, so you step outside of it. And it's very hard to do. It's easy for me to say because I'm pretty much on my own and my family are over there, not in my home every day. But I created that for myself. And that's what's given me peace. Some of you can't do that. Many of you can't do that. But at least you're aware of it. Who you are around is very important. Okay, so that's all I wanted to talk about for today. It's been a beautiful warm day, but it's suddenly turned a bit chilly, so I've got this on because I don't want to catch any chills through the change in weather. So I've always keep something on to stay warm, just in case. That's me. Not everybody has got the same constitution as I have. Have a lovely day, and speak to you tomorrow.